got to talk about an interview that happened between Uncle Trump and Kristen Welker. One thing I will say about Trump is that he's not afraid to go into the lion's den, so to speak, to go to unfriendly media, because we have seen him do actually several interviews with Kristen Welker as well as others, right? Joe Biden or Kamala never could have done that. And we saw them run and hide from those types of interviews. So I think Trump deserves a lot of credit for that, especially since the previous administration or the folks who were trying to become the next administration, Kamala's team, they ran from these types of interviews. They ran from, tougher interviews, which obviously we know anytime Trump goes to any network, basically, it's going to be a tough interview. They're always going to ask him tough questions. They're always going to frame things in a terrible light. They're always going to try to get him in a gotcha moment. And that's what this first clip is actually displaying here. Kristen Welker asks him a question. He answers it. But then she basically continues to ask him the question like another 2 times, just framing it in a different way. And you'll understand what I mean when you watch this clip. So with that being said, let's dive in.
The Trump organization is selling hats that say Trump 2028.
Yeah.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican, to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular.
The Constitution does prohibit it. Some of your allies are pretty serious about this, though, Mr. President. I've spoken to them. They say they are coming up with potential ways. Well, obviously, the biggest one will be a constitutional amendment.
That's because they like the job I'm doing, and it's a compliment.
Has anyone in an official capacity presented you with, sir, here are some ideas by which you could actually get a constitutional amendment?
Well, in a capacity of being a big supporter, many people have said different things, but I'm not looking at that.
You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party. It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA. Make America great again.
When you look to the future, Mr. President, do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
What gives you
confidence? I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. You look at Marco, you look at J.D. Vance, who's fantastic. You look at, I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats. They're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do. And I really believe in a two-party system. Because it's good to be challenged. It's really good to have a two-party. You know, it's good. Being challenged is okay. It keeps you sharp. I don't know what they're going to do. They have nobody. Bernie's 87 years old or something. And, you know, Biden is the worst thing that ever happened to old people because he was grossly incompetent. And I think maybe for artificial reasons. You know, he had operations and things. So maybe that's an artificial. But I know people that are unbelievably sharp, and they're older than 87. But I watch Bernie Sanders. He's a nut job, but he's still sharp. He's sharp as he's the same guy he was. He hasn't gone down. But Biden is really, he's the worst thing to happen to old people.
I know that you are only 100 days in, but as we sit here today, who do you see as your successor, Mr. President?
Well, it's far too early to say that. But, I do have a vice president, and typically it would be, and JD's doing a fantastic job.
He would be at the top of the list?
It could very well be. I don't want to get involved in that. I think he's a fantastic, brilliant guy. Marco is great. There's a lot of them that are great. I also see tremendous unity, but certainly you would say that somebody's the VP. If that person is outstanding, I guess that person would have an advantage. But I think the other people would all stay in unbelievably high positions. But, it could be that he'd be challenged by somebody. We have a lot of good people in this party.
A couple of things, right? Notice how she reframed the question like 3 different times on him running in 28. First, she asked him directly. Then she said, well, some people are trying to put together legislation, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about that? And, have people been asking you? Like he kept saying no, but she kept reframing it to try to get him to say, yes, I'm running in 2028. The next thing is that I want to touch on is the whole MAGA movement. And he said that he was asked, does he think the MAGA movement can live on without him? Honestly, I don't know. That is all dependent upon if we get a leader in the MAGA movement that is truly America first, because that's what it's all about. America first. But if we get a rhino in there, for example, I'm not a big fan of Ron DeSantis. I've made no secret about it. I've always said that from the start. I was like, man, there's something about Ron DeSantis, and I can't put my finger on it, right? Like, great governor. I won't take anything from him in terms of him being a governor. He's a great governor, phenomenal. I love the way he's run Florida. He has done a fantastic job. But for president, there's something about Ron. Am I the only person? Like, there's something about Ron DeSantis that I just don't like. It's something there that is telling me that's not the guy, not him. Like, it's just something there. It's like that guy can be bought. He can be bought. Like, it might all seem fine and dandy, but but salt even looks like sugar. You know what I mean? Like, don't be fooled. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all talk to me, please. But yeah, that the whole MAGA living on. I think Trump should stay relevant within the party. Yeah, like I always said, I think Trump should become what Obama is to the Democrat Party. That should be Trump's role. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think, if the MAGA movement can truly live on. And who do you think will be the next leader? Is it J.D. Vance? He mentioned Marco Rubio. Honestly, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But, one thing that I do want to touch on with this interview is the fact that a lot of the questions, because this interview was an hour long, and if you watch the entire interview, a lot of the questions are framed in a negative light. And Trump actually calls her out on it right to her face. I want you guys to check that out.
Let me ask it this way, sir, because when we talked in December, I asked you, what is your message to people who didn't vote for you? Let me remind you of what you said. You said, I love you, and we're going to all work together. How does pursuing your political foes help to unify?
Did I really say I love you?
You really did. That's a direct quote.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, but I'd like to see.
I promise I'll show it to you. I'll show you the tape.
Look.
How does that help to unify the country?
I want to treat people fairly, whether they voted for me or not. I want to have a unified country. It's very hard because the media is so fake, including, like, even the way you ask questions. Every question is asked in a negative vein. There's a toy company that took a toddler's, whatever, but you don't talk about the fact that gasoline is down at numbers that nobody believes possible. You know why they're down, by the way? Drill, baby, drill. We're drilling like crazy right now.
We try to make sure every question is fair, Mr. President.
Look, every question you ask says a very negative slant.
No, but look, I'm just curious.
I'm fine for responding to you. I don't think you're very difficult at all to respond to be honest with you. But you know what? You should ask some positive things like, sir, it's amazing what you've done with gasoline. Because you know what? Gasoline's big business. A stroller is not big business.
To this question, Mr. President, you said you wanted to unify the country. Does going after political foes undercut that goal?
No, not at all. No, we want honest people.
Okay.
I think you have to do that. We want honest people in this country.
Let me ask you big picture. People who have lived in countries like the Philippines, Hungary, Russia, they look at some of your actions going after civil service, going after universities, law firms, the media. They say it's out of an authoritarian playbook. What do you say to those who believe you are taking the country down an authoritarian path?
Well, there you go again. Why don't you ask it a different way? Many people wanted to come into our country. Many people love Trump. I won the election. They didn't win the election. I got a lot more votes than they did. I won the popular vote. I won all 7 swing states by a lot. A lot of people were surprised. I said, I think you could win 4, maybe 5. No, I won all 7, and I won by a lot. And I won, actually, I think there was a lot of hanky-panky going on, but it was too big to rig. That's the good news. It's too big to rig. But let me just say, so when you make these statements about People say this, people, well, you know, they had their chance at the election and they lost big. So you should ask the question differently. You should say, what about the people that want to be in this country? What about the people that love this country?
But what do you say? I'm asking it on behalf.
I love that Trump called her out to her face. Like, bro, why do you always frame everything in a negative light? And notice, and this is one thing I'm noticing, and I said this in a previous video. Notice they always say they, right? They never tell you who exactly it is. They always say they say, or the famous one from Democrats. You know, I've been talking to people. What people? Show me. We've all got phones. Like, it's not that hard to do a street interview just with a cell phone. Hey, are you fine with me interviewing you on camera? Yeah, great. All right, cool. You know, pull out your phone, start recording. Easy. Show me these people that you're talking to. Show me they, Kristen Welker. Show me they. Because they don't exist. You didn't talk to anybody. They didn't say anything. They just make this stuff up. They just pull it out of their behinds. It's so obvious that they're doing it because they all say the same thing. All the Democrat politicians, you know, I've been talking to people. MAGA supporters have been Trump voters have been coming up to me. No, they haven't. Stop it. They say. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And for her to say going after opponents unifying. Well, didn't they just do the same thing to Uncle Trump? As far as I'm concerned, he deserves to spin the block to at least investigate all of them. I think they warrant an investigation. I mean, they did it to him. Just saying. I don't think an eye for an eye is wrong. Investigate. If you find something fraudulent, you attack it. You go after it. Nothing wrong with that in my humble opinion. But yeah, man. Shout out to Uncle Trump, man. I think he's doing a phenomenal job, regardless of what mainstream media says. And this isn't me being biased. I think he's doing everything that he promised he was going to do, right? And two, he's doing things that are necessary. This stuff had to be done. It had to be done. Do I think he's perfect? No man is. So I'd be a fool to expect him to be perfect. There are some things that I would like him to change here or change there or to tweak this or tweak that. But that's always going to be the case. But for the most part, I think he's doing a fantastic job. But what do you think? Let me know. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.